What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 8 of Ink and Insights with Dr. Doom's Fan Club and 9-Panel Grid. I'm 9-Panel Grid here, and with me, as always, is Stu from Dr. Doom's Fan Club. Stu, buddy, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. Dreary little autumn day in my neck of the woods. Had one of the kids home sick, so yeah, I just got to do some reading and relaxing on a day while I'm normally at work. So it was pretty chill. But other than that, I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, pretty good. Got to hit up the local comic books shop today. Got my new books. Weather is kind of nasty over here, if I'm being honest. Like, it's been rainy, it's been windy as all heck. So,
Mm-hmm.
if I mysteriously disappear, I didn't just bail on the stream by any means. It's definitely the weather knocking some crap out. So I apologize ahead of time if that happens, but I think we're gonna be good. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, just been chilling, just rocking and rolling, reading my comic books, and yeah, doing my thing, man. Cool. All right, let's see
Yeah,
who we
man. I
got.
got weather issues over here too, so I'm right there with you.
Okay, we're in the same boat, man. Yeah, so if we get blurry and stuff, just hang with us. We'll be okay. We got a couple people that's rocking with us in the chat here already. Simpleton, always nice seeing you, buddy. And we got Nick from Comic Culture Station, buddy. What's going on, man?
What's up, Nick?
All right. Well, Stu, if it's cool with you, man, what do you say? Would you want to dive right into the comic books that we're going to be talking about today?
Let's do it, brother.
Nice. All right. We're going to start with, as always, the House of Ideas. And we're going to kick things off today with Uncanny X-Men #5, written by Gail Simone with artwork by David Marquez. I've been enjoying the heck out of this book. I think it's probably one of the strongest, if not the strongest, of the X titles that have been coming out. And I think it's largely due to Gail's work on the title. This issue kind of really revolves around Rogue's leadership qualities, Rogue's connection to the people that are around her, like her quote unquote family, with Remy, with Logan, with Kurt, Jubilee, and these new mutants that they've kind of like grown a kinship with and kind of, corralled them in, and they're trying to, show them the ways of, what it means not to be an X-Men as a superhero, but be an X-Men as, kind of the higher standard that they hold themselves to. Rogue is down for the count basically at this point. We're picking up right where the previous issue left us with, where do you remember the name of this villainous creature? Was it just some bog hag? Like, I don't remember what the name is.
Bog hag is amazing. Sarah Gaunt, I believe, bro.
Okay, so did they give her a villainous name as of yet, though?
No, I don't. They gave. Remember, she had, when we covered issue 3, and she impaled Wolverine. She had a cool name for her fingers, like Somber Steel or something like that. Remember? I remember we touched on that, but no, I haven't heard an official villainous nickname for her.
Okay, so she's the Swampy Poke. Then she gets the name her fingernails nice.
Bog hag is #1 for me.
Okay,
so that's #1. Yeah.
The bog hag straight messed her up. Oh, thank you. Okay, Nick's holding it down for us. Sarah, what a weak, lame name.
Yeah, Sarah Gaunt. Like, it's just, yeah, it's just been her name. Like, as of yet, she hasn't had a cool. You think they would have given her a cool name, but
Marvel, if you're listening, we need a cool name here.
Yeah,
but okay, so moving on here. Yeah, see, here we go. Sal's helping us out too. Sarah Gaunt.
Gaunt, I guess, would kind of work.
Gaunt could work, right? The haunting Gaunt. I don't know. We'll figure something out. So we have Rogue. She's completely messed up from the last issue. You can see her arm is straight jacked up. She's down for the count. The bog hag, whatever you want to call her, is right on top of her, going in for the kill. She already messed up Wolverine, but lo and behold, Rogue is not one to just kind of be taken out so lightly. She kind of recalls on her powers. She recalls on powers that she didn't even know that she had taken previously from the child that they visited in the hospital. And kind of, this is my gripe with the issue, to be honest. Like, I liked part of it where it was just like, oh, by the way, like, you're drawing on my powers. And that's why we're able to communicate. And this is why we're able to do this. And she's like, yeah, but I'm still all messed up. Like, how am I supposed to do this? He's like, oh, yeah. No, by the way, I got like other powers too. Like, I have super healing powers. So like, don't worry. Just use all my powers. And like, they'll wear off because I'm already dead. What a MacGuffin. Like this little kid is just gonna give her all the powers that she happens to need in this moment.
Yeah, it kept like being at the. I look at the end. He's like, "Oh yeah, mutant, like the healing factor too. That's another thing." It kept like,
Yeah, it's like what?
out of his back pocket. Yeah, it was crazy.
But and here's the thing, I have gripes with this book clearly, but they're so secondary because this book, the plot honestly does not matter. I don't care about the point A to point B stuff. I don't care about like what is happening in the book so much as I care about the interactions for the people that they're having with this book. And I love how they're taking the time to show Rogue's leadership qualities, to show some of her past struggles, like some of the things like when they took the time to talk about like how she was trying to quote unquote correct her speech and enunciate words more rather than using the dialect that she grew up with and having the, you know, the what's the word I'm looking for? When you speak with an accent. I couldn't think of accent.
The patois.
There, yeah, I like that even better. Yeah, when she's trying to basically like just knock that out of her system, which takes away a little bit of that individuality, which is again what makes her such a strong leader character, which makes her such a strong like gravitational character where, you know, where other people within the universe, you know, gravitate towards her because she is such a strong personality. And I mean, come on, if you grew up with the 90s X-Men, hearing Suga, like come on, like you couldn't live without that voice being Rogue's voice. And that's what really permeates through this entire issue. You know, she obviously uses those powers, she manifests them. She's able to knock out the bog hag here, break both of her arms, and put her down for the count, just like she did to her the previous issue. What did you think of this issue, man? Like, what's your feeling about the Uncanny X-Men right now?
I loved it. I agree with what you said about Rogue and the accent. I found myself like pronouncing words out loud in the Rogue dialect, you know, to try to really nail it. You know what I mean? But
oh yeah,
I've enjoyed this one, man. This one, like I'll be honest, I didn't read 4 after we covered 3 on the show, but I came back and read 4 and 5, you know, for tonight, and you know, I really enjoyed the 2 issues. It's such a great Rogue storyline, you know what I mean? And it's great to see her front and center with old reliables like Wolverine, blind and battered, and
blind.
You know, everybody's really kind of essentially leaning on her for strength. I love that. I love Thompson's voice for the character, for really a lot of the female characters in this, but with Rogue, with like in this one, lines like "she broke us like the neck of a cooking hen," and we were just talking about, like with her accent. And Jubilee, I love that line from Jubilee. I came in a mall rat and it ended up a soldier. Like, that's such a great line, dude, and so dead on for that character. And Marquez's artwork has been phenomenal, dude. Like some of the team panels in this issue were so good. I really enjoyed it. I really love his Wolverine. I would really love to see him on a Wolverine book.
No kidding.
Just like, and nothing else. And I really love what he's done with the Sarah Gaunt character and the like the terror of her. It's been fantastic. I think great design with that character, and I thought it was I agree with the points you made about the Harvey X thing, but I thought it was cool just to tie in that with you know, that kid from issue 1 with the end of this arc and issue 5. But I enjoyed that with the structure, and yeah, the Rogue vs. Sarah fight was dope, dude. But at the end, like, it feels so bittersweet with her dropping her off at you know, she's got nowhere to take her, so she goes to you know, the you know, Xavier Mansion, which is now the Grey Malkin prison, you know, and that, you know, so how much what did we really gain here? Like, did we really do any good? And you know, she makes all these threats: if you weaponize her, if you know, you hurt her, you know, et cetera, I'll come back. But you know, it just feels bittersweet with her having nowhere to take her. And you know, it's like Batman and Arkham, you know, it's like, yeah. So
a little bit, yeah. But I mean, but that's kind of the plight, and I'm glad that they're at least speaking to that without like hammering it home, but they're speaking to the fact that mutants don't have a home, right? Mutants are, you know, they're out there in the wild basically, and they don't have any kind of system in place that's going to allow them to take people like this to, I don't know, wherever it may be, right? I'm sure that the greater Marvel universe has like the Raft or like, you know, whatever.
Yeah. Do you know if the Grey Malkin prison is anywhere in any other X books? off the top of your head?
Yeah, so Jed McKay's run, in fact, they're kind of lining this up to kind of come head to head with these two specifically about
Oh,
I
okay.
think that the event or mini arc is going to be called like the raid on Grey Malkin.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, and
So
that's going to
we're
see
about
Scott's team kind of like come to blows with Rogue's team.
okay. That'll be
Yeah,
that sounds
should be
juicy.
interesting, right? Like maybe
Yeah.
it gets the juices flowing for I don't know, some excitement levels for the X-Men, because again, they've been real hit and miss here, some of them good, some of them bad, but that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah. But this one
Yeah.
has been solid, man. And I would recommend it, you know what I mean? And Marquez, like I said earlier, Marquez's artwork has been phenomenal. So
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you. Well, we've had a couple more people drop in on us while we've been talking Uncanny X-Men here. We got Mr. One Collection down, Fable. Nice seeing you, buddy.
Station, bro.
Yeah, one of the co-hosts of the show Absolute Book Club, which just debuted last night. Had a fantastic first episode.
Thank you, bro. It was a great episode.
Yeah. Mentioned before, but Sal, can't say hi enough to you, man. Always nice seeing you. Wow, language from this comic culture guy. Yeah. Good lord,
it's just going in.
I know. We got our brother Verno, Blood
Vern,
Splatter
what
Chatter.
Up, bro?
What's up, buddy? And I think we're caught up now here. What's Nick saying here? One of the, I think the one negative about the first arc is that we were introduced to a lot of new young mutants or whatever they are, and we really don't know them yet. More to come, I'm sure. Yeah, I kind of agree with that too, because I mean, they're kind of archetypes or stereotypes, to a worse degree at this point. But I mean, they have room to grow. We'll see.
I like the Deathstream kid. I like him. I want to see more from him.
Y'all love this emo
I love it, man. I'm here for it.
I can't say much. I said I was all in on the Pony Girl. So like,
yeah. So what's up with Pony Girl? What's exactly is her power set?
I have no idea. That's the thing. You like
because she went on Juggernaut on the horse, right? On this slide we have here. Go back one. Yeah, this slide right here, right? She turned, which was cool, great art again by Marquez. But she turned herself and the horse into a Juggernaut. I was like, oh, that's cool, but I still have no idea. And it seems like she can go super crazy with her power levels if she really wants to. You know what I mean? Like Gaunt targeted her and wanted her to get taken out and mess. Remember she told her one of her minions to make it sloppy and all that. So I don't know, but yeah, it still remains like undefined. I feel like for me.
What a plot twist would it be if the horse was the mutant and she just happens to be chilling? She's riding along and she's all of a sudden like the horse is just full of flames. She's like, oh, it must be me. I'm the one. I'm a mutant, right?
That would be amazing. Yeah. That would be amazing. Yeah. He's the whole time.
The whole time.
Yeah. He goes Omega. If you give him sugar cubes, he goes Omega level.
Oh my God. Oh man. All right, we got Nick saying, I think this new villain is just a vehicle to introduce the new younger mutants. That's probably why they haven't had much to do with the character. I want to agree with that, but they've tied this character so intrinsically to Professor X that I feel like there has to be more, because there's still a mystery revolving around Professor X himself. He's kind of just locked up after the events that happened on Krakoa. So like, there's got to be more to the story there. And if there's not, that's gonna be a letdown, because there's something that has to be developed there besides the fact that
why has the good professor not been exiled like yet? You know what I mean? We ought to
I don't know, dude.
Ship him off to the Shi'ars for a couple generations, man. Dude is just bad energy all the way around.
At the very least, just stop him from having bastard kids out there. Like, how many is it going to take for him to realize he's a bad parent and he should stop doing this?
Just from the womb, he's been rotten.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. Who knows?
Get him out of here.
We got Verno here. Krakoa is a distant memory these days. Yes.
Well, didn't we hear? So, wasn't that one of the things in this issue? Like, Krakoa is still alive? Didn't somebody tell somebody that?
Well, Krakoa still exists. It's still out there. And in fact, the way that they ended that time with the X-Men left it totally open for all of that to be explored again. But for all intents and purposes, the idea of Krakoa it's done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How about physically? Like, because I know that they got attacked in that. Okay. They're still out there somewhere.
Yep, physically it still exists. In fact, Krakoa and Araco both merged again, became one entity. And there's a subset of people that went off with that, and they're kind of in this little pocket area, whether it's in the future or a pocket dimension, whatever the case may be. I can't recall exactly what happened, but it's still out there. It's still ready for the right writer to come back and pluck it back into existence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for clearing that up for me, or catching me up, I guess.
And that's been your Krakoan history lesson from 9. We got Taki rocking with us, man. Tak, always good to see you, buddy.
What
up? And are we caught up here? Almost. Rogue Collecting, the man with the best taste on IG. Seriously, if you're not following Rogue on IG, like, do yourself a favor, because you save yourself a whole lot of time. You see, he picks the best of the best stuff out there and puts it on his IG and his reels and stuff. Yes, great stuff. All right, I think we are all caught up here. All right, so we've gone 1X title here. Let's talk about the next one, which was a pleasant surprise for me. Psylocke #1, written by Alyssa Wong with artwork by Vincenzo Caruto. I had a lot of fun with this issue as well. In fact, I would argue that I actually liked this even more than Uncanny X-Men, because it was just built that way. It was just built to be like kinetic, fun, energetic, balls to the wall kind of action. And that's what we're getting here from page 1. So Kwannon, the holder of the title Psylocke now, because her and Betsy Braddock have, completely split in their two entities. Kwannon's just on a mission now where she is looking for either exiled mutants or captive mutants, because once all the mutants came back into the greater society off of Krakoa, all these different agencies like AIM, Hydra, whatever, what have you, have all been kind of doing whatever they want to wrangle them up and kind of use them for their own nefarious purposes. In this case, AIM has been wrangling up a bunch of the mutants, and she's been out there basically on her, on her quote unquote downtime as an X-Man, just wreaking havoc on all these people, looking for these characters or looking for these mutants that have been held prisoner, and freeing them from, whatever their captors are doing. So that's been really fun, because it's just, like I said, on this panel itself, you can see her just kicking ass left and right. On top of that, though, most of the history that we have with Psylocke, the character, and Kwannon, the Asian character, was by way of her kind of melding and being the same character as Betsy Braddock, when Betsy Braddock inhabited her body and kind of took over that person for the greater part of 20-ish years, 25 years, something like that. So it's been kind of nice seeing this character grow and develop and get to be her own person. And on top of that, we learn a little bit more about her past. And maybe this has been all revealed at other times through different arcs, maybe in the 90s or something like that. It's kind of fresh and new to me. As a child, before the whole merging with Betsy Braddock, whatever, she was kind of raised as a child killer. She was raised by the Hand to become an assassin for them. I had no idea about this. I'm like, oh crap, that's pretty cool. Like, I'm always down for a little kid Hand assassin, because I'm a fan of Daredevil and Elektra. Like, that lines right up with my interest. So it was right there for me. But we see Scott here, and I love the fact, by the way, I'm not a Scott Summers hater like some people out there. I respect Scott. I respect Cyclops as a character and as a leader, but I always laugh my ass off when other people in the books don't respect him. Scott's over here trying to read her, her rights, and he's like, listen, you've been burning the candle at both ends. You can't keep going out on these missions here. You're not pulling your weight as an X-Man. You're not pulling your weight doing your own stuff. You need to sit this one out. You're sitting this mission out, basically go to your room, right? And she's like, sure, Captain. All right, I got you. Go. You guys go on your mission. Have fun. Bye. And as soon as that happens, she pieces out. She's like, screw you, Scott. I don't got to listen to you. And what does she do? Of course, she goes back on her missions to, to, again, start helping these other mutants. Through helping these mutants, she finds kind of like things from the past are bubbling up again here, where the mutant growth hormone drug, which was kind of like really brought into like prominence in the early 2000s through, like, I think Brian Michael Bendis might have been the person that really kind of like, I don't know, brought it to the forefront the most at the time. But that has kind of come into being a chic thing in the Marvel universe again. And AIM primarily is trying to gather up these, vagabond mutants and start harvesting their DNA to make the mutant growth hormone. Psylocke ain't gonna have that, so she's doing everything in her power to stop that, and she infiltrates one of these auctions where it's not that they're auctioning off the mutant growth hormone, but it's actually mutant trafficking at this point, where they're selling mutant children for the buyers to do whatever the heck they want. And the gross, rich individuals of this Marvel universe, of course, are sitting there looking at these children in a cage, just bidding, oh yeah, I'll bid this much, I'll bid that much. And she's just like, you know, obviously beside herself, knowing what she had to go through as a child and knowing what, you know, what her upbringing was like, being raised as a child killer and kind of being manipulated as a child, and now seeing these children go through what they're going through. It totally unlocks, you know, a little bit of PTSD in her, but it definitely sets things up for some probably really cool action scenes coming up for the second issue. So I've been rambling on here. Stu, man, what were your thoughts on this issue?
Yeah, man, no, I agree. This one was a blast. I love the intro I think you had on the on our previous slide here, with her just dropping through the glass and sign knifing dudes in the cranium. That was a badass intro.
How did you think of that?
How did you feel about the art though? It just felt like so Marvel cookie cutter of the moment right now though. That was my one big gripe with it. How did you?
I could say that about any Marvel book though. Like, I mean, give me a Marvel book that stands out to you in a positive way.
Ultimates or Aliens versus Avengers?
Okay. So outside of the 616, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because my answer would have been Spider-Man Reign, right? Because that is,
yeah,
you know, even though that's emulating those 90s feels, it's outside of the norm of what we get. Everything within the 616, though, is very much on model. Like, they do have a house style. And I think it's gotten to the point now where it's hurting them more than helping them. Because I don't think the artwork in this is bad. And I don't think you're saying it's bad by any means either. But it is. It's very much cookie cutter.
Yeah, it just, I don't know if they're getting, do you think they're getting pushed in this direction, or like artist wise, or do you think like these artists are hired with the understanding that this is, you know, this is what they're expected to put out? And I don't know.
I think that artists, okay, I'm trying to how to say this. They're pulling from a pool of artists, right? And these artists tend to live in certain areas of the world, right? The influence level of those people, generally speaking, is going to be similar, right? And if it's not similar, they're probably going to be influenced to be a little bit similar, knowing what's happened in the past and what Marvel might want for their characters. So I think it's dual fold. I think that there's certain things that are being played with at the same time. I'm trying to think of comparisons, but like there's a lot of Italian artists that I really enjoy, and their styles, while different, you can see like the influences that they have and how there is similarities between their artwork. Same thing with like a couple Spanish artists that I know. Same thing with Brazilian artists that I know. You see parallels between the styles that they use.
Yeah, I don't know. I think when you have a solid story like this, now this one wasn't like full tilt, like, whoa, super cool, like radical interpretation of the character. It was solid and super well done. But to that, you know, to that statement, I think it could have used like a dynamic artist or something different to make it, assuming this is going to be a short-lived series, to really pair with the strong story and voice for the character, because I thought that Wong definitely nailed it. As far as, you know, who she was, I thought the dialogue was fresh, and yeah, I love the scene when she saves a kidnapped girl and she's talking about, you're a mutant, my dad hated mutants or whatever, and she tells her his political career doesn't have to be your path forward, and he's not the one I'm here to rescue. Like, and also the relationship, like you said, like when Cyclops tells her to take a vacation, she goes and has, you know, a fun night with John Greycrow. I love the inclusion of the Marauders, dude, as a 90s kid. You know what I mean? Yeah, a fun night with John Greycrow. But and that was dope. Just, you know, her having the bad dream and him consoling her. I thought Wong found ways to put really dope and meaningful moments in here, and they were well written. So I really appreciated that. I just thought it could have used like a cool new something fresh artistically to pair with it. You know what I mean? And really make a new statement for this character. Because, you know, a lot of times when you go to these Marvel characters, they have volumes and volumes. You know, I don't know what volume Wolverine is on now. You know, it's
no kidding.
8 or 9. But when I went to Psylocke, you know, on the Read All Comics, all she had before was the a miniseries from 09 or 2010. You know what I mean? And I feel like she's definitely sufficient enough a character, at least in my eyes, to carry a solid mini or get people interested in a solid mini. And I feel like if this one had some cool attention grabbing art to go with a fresh new story, it would have really made a difference and really set it apart, rather than it just being like, oh, this one was a pleasant surprise. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was my biggest gripe with it. I thought overall it was fantastic. Like I said, Marauders popping up the end, dude. It was gritty. You know what I mean? And I like the that her kind of going ham when she saw the kids being auctioned off, and that was a step too far. And you know, I like the power set and the way they display the action. It's dope. I need to learn more about it, I guess. I'm not familiar all the way with some of the things she's doing, and she's capable of doing. But that said, this one was dope, dude. So
yeah.
Are you still reading the Phoenix mini? Is that still going on?
I am, and I'm glad that you brought that up here, because Sal just said, like, if you told me this was an NYX artist or the Phoenix artist, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you the difference. And as soon as I read that, I was like, oh crap, like, it's kind of true. And I've been praising the Phoenix artist because I have been reading it still. And in fact, when I was talking about Uncanny X-Men being arguably the strongest title, I think that Phoenix is low-key maybe the title that I would pick to be the strongest. And I think I'm in the minority when it comes to that, but I've been enjoying the heck out of that, including the artwork by Alessandro Miracolo, I believe is his name. But as soon as I read that, I was like, oh crap, it kind of does look exactly like this issue. Like it's very much stylistically in that same vein. So
yeah,
take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, but thus concludes our journey into the House of Ideas here. Before we move over to DC, though, we got another lovely guest here, Christina.
Good evening,
always
man.
Wonderful seeing you.
Well, yes, thank
Absolutely.
you for coming through.
All right, but without further ado, let's go ahead and see what DC Comics is showcasing. I'll let you go ahead and take it here because from what I've heard, you've been Stu AF recently, especially with the latest Absolute Book Club.
Absolutely. Check out Absolute Book Club. We broke down Absolute Batman 1 and 2 last night. Me, Fable, Scotty, Matt from Infinity Flux and Bumpkins TV, and our boy Sergio, who writes for CBC Comic Book, and I forget the acronym, but the Comic Book Invest website. So we had a bunch of a collection of great minds over on Scotty's channel for the first round of Absolute Book Club. But yeah, can't wait to get back and do it again with the fellas. That was a great talk. But yeah, dude, what do you think about the news that number one sold 400K, right? Like swamped everything out. Like that's incredible, right?
It's awesome, but also so here's my opinion on that stuff, because Scott Snyder also just announced that they're going into the 4th printing of these books. And we've seen books now hit like 10th printing, like I think Transformers was the latest one to say, oh, 10th printing. Why do we do that? What is the purpose behind that? Like, I struggle with understanding that, because we live in a world where no one is going to reach X-Men #1 numbers. And they're especially not going to reach those numbers when they have multiple printings like this. So I guess I want to have a better understanding of what those printings mean. When you talk about how many units a particular issue sold, does it include those subsequent printings? Because I would wonder if any of those series have even come close to touching Spider-Man #1 numbers or X-Men #1 numbers. Have we even like gotten like near it? Because if that's the case, I hate the fact that this has gotten 4 printings at this point. If we're not getting anywhere close, hey, make your money. I don't care then. Like, do your thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's impressive given that Transformers sold like 200K last year, as the top selling book, and it almost doubled that. So
It
like,
doubled it.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, I think, and dude, this was the surprising thing to me. TMNT from IDW this year sold 300,000 copies apparently for number one, which is mind blowing to me. I just don't remember the buzz for that book being that big or being talked about even after it dropped. But maybe,
Yeah, it was all right.
yeah,
I think there was more buzz around these books, or at least maybe that buzz resonated more because they were better,
yeah,
for the lack of
yeah,
a better term. Like they were just better.
yeah. Yeah, Sal's talking the DC doing the noir editions. Yeah, yeah, it's ridiculous, right? Noirs, like who's buying noir editions out here? What kind of idiots? What kind of idiots are buying noir editions? But yeah.
Oh, dude, you really?
Let's
How
not
many
talk about it.
copies? How many?
Don't
copies
worry
of
about
each
it,
one?
bro. We're here to talk
I'm gonna
about it,
worry about it.
celebrate the book. I don't. It's
What
growing.
dent in
I
the
don't want to put a
400,000
number on
did you
it
make?
because I don't want to put a number on it because then I'm limiting myself. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's growing. It's never growing collection. So
It's 300,000, isn't it? You can tell me. It's just
it
me
might
and you.
be. It might
Okay.
be. It might be. Shout out to Absolute Madman though. So number two, right? We what happens in number two?
What does happen?
The party animal's up the ante on Batman. He's up in his attacks. Alfred's doing more surveillance, right? And he's got protections on him. He's protecting some of his hideaways. Eventually, his employers tell him to drop those protections, and he does so. And the party animals attack some of his stash houses or whatever. But we get this Batman AF moment. What did you think about since everybody's talking about it, dude? Let's get it out of the way early. What did you think about Batman? What is it? Advance forward, as Snyder so cutely tried to box it in as. Like, give me a break, man. Just own it. Like, what did you think about it?
I think this is him owning it, though. Like, I was listening to an interview where he was talking about the fact that I can't remember exactly what they tried to do it, but basically they said this is the initiative. Like we're calling it absolute, but it's like no, it's like this is Batman AF. This is Wonder Woman AF. Like this is like we're taking everything and it's like Marty McFly cranking the freaking guitar up to 11. That's what they're doing at this point. So it's silly, it's stupid, it's fun. It's also a comic book and it's supposed to check those boxes. So like when I read it, I chuckled, but like I didn't chuckle in a way like, oh, you stupid comic. I was just like, all right, I'm along for the ride. This is Batman AF.
And it was paired very nicely with like, him destroying the building. And like I love how meta everything is. Like literally his attacks are coordinated in the bat sigil and then here with like blowing up the building. But to me, the highlight of the comic book was absolutely the poker game with his group of friends. We got such a unique, innovative look at like all of them, I thought, and how he was able to extract information, bringing out the party animal mask, and then like, Eddie being involved with the technology and stuff like that. Ozzy having the business that might be legal, might not be. Harvey, of course, his political ties and all of that. I just thought, like, the way he kind of goes around the table and through the structure of a poker game and each player folding and him having that conversation. I thought that was really great writing. That was really cool to see. And it's like it feels very on brand that yes, he's coming to see his friends and have, participate in the poker game after not showing up for a while, but he's also there to get information and use them in some type of way. So I don't know. And it'll be interesting to see if they all stay friends and, if they're going to eventually turn to the Rogues Gallery. Are you along for the Rogues Gallery as friends idea? I don't know if I've ever because some people just aren't with it. Like, does it work for you?
Yeah, it does. It's supposed to be new and fresh and bold, and we haven't, really seen that from a Batman story before. And in fact, like the feeling that I got, and this isn't an apples to apples comparison, right? So it's not the perfect analogy, but it feels like a Spider-Man title almost to me. right? It feels like more Spider-Man, a more Spider-Man-y version of Batman in that same vein, where it's like all these characters kind of grow up and they have connections to one another, as opposed to just kind of being disparate people who had these terrible things happen to them, like half of their face getting burned off or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was here for it.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Same, man. I like it. I'm very curious to see where it goes. You know what I mean? It'll be interesting to see, because somebody's going to break bad inevitably.
You would think so, yeah.
Well,
let me ask you this though. Let's say that you and me and the wonderful members of our chat here are all around a table here. We're playing poker, we're shooting the shit, and we're having a great time. And let's say that Taki rolls up in and he drops a helmet on the middle of the table. And he's like, y'all ever seen something like this? Wouldn't you side-eye that maybe a little bit more than everyone else around that table did? Like, why does that feel like such a commonplace thing? Does Bruce just continually bring in weird trash? Like, and check this out, guys.
I did like that moment too. Like I forget who said it, but no monkey bones in the pot. And and I don't know. I did. Yeah. I don't know. The whole, like, I found it cleaning up the town hall incident thing was, I don't know. I guess it works. I mean, I don't know. Yes and no, I guess my answer to your question. Yes, I would side I am a little bit more, but I maybe not initially, but like, I think that's one of those things, like you're driving home from the poker game, you're like, man, Bruce sure was asking a lot of questions about that mask. And then, like, you're going through it in your head, you're like, man. And dude, how has nobody put together that this dude, is Batman? I love it. Like, I just love the bulky body, the little head. It totally works for me. It's very Frank Miller-ish. It's so, I feel like it's so of that energy. So I love that. What did you think about the Gordon, the one we have here, the Gordon and Martha scene in the hospital and all that, him talking about finding Bruce and
dude, so where the poker game was your favorite moment of the comic, this was my favorite moment of the comic, because it revealed so much about this universe and so much about the ancillary characters that are surrounding Bruce, but not necessarily impacting Bruce right now, because he's keeping everyone else at arm's length. But to see Jim being the person who saved Bruce as a child, and to see that's the connection, like it was such an oddly beautiful moment where Martha and Jim shared the cigarette together, and you could just feel the level of comfort that they had towards one another and the kinship that they had. And obviously there's so much more to the story, but it was really good writing and really good storytelling from Dragotta, showing us that there is a connection between these two. And it's more than just hey, you're that dude that saved my kid, I seen you again. Like, no, this is more to it. But it was done so in not, I don't want to say a subtle way, because subtle isn't the right word, but it wasn't done in a heavy-handed way to where it was like knocking you over the head, like, hey, this is Bruce's stepdaddy, now deal with it. So I thought it was a beautiful moment between these characters that they got to share together.
You think they had a thing in the past together?
I think they got a thing
right now.
Oh yeah, their thing is a thing. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
She wants him out of that hospital right now.
Let's go. Oh man, I could have used that last night, because we were all kind of like wondering last night. I don't know. I still feel like it's kind of vague, but I like that you're
maybe it was subtle. Maybe it was more subtle than I'm giving it credit for.
She wants him out of the hospital right now. I love it. I also like, how we learn, we were talking about this last night at the end of issue 1, Bruce, like, Alfred's there to hit Bruce right there when he's meeting his mom, right? And then he's hugging on his mom and they're walking in together and everything looks hunky-dory between those two. Then in this issue, you realize, like, he was the type of kid, like, shut up, mom, close the door, leave me alone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they had a really rocky relationship, and that he's not always been, like, so easy to get in touch with. So I don't know. It makes me wonder if, if the status of their relationship has always been.
I mean, to be fair, though, like, he just went through a harrowing experience where his father passed away. He was literally covered in bats and had absolute chaos going on outside. So, like, if he's gonna scream at his mom, I'm gonna let him off the hook for
I mean, I guess so. Yeah, whatever. No, just dude. Speaking of, how much do you love? To me, one of my favorite parts about this book is the flashback art. When we go back to the zoo scenes, like, and the way they color that is so beautiful. I love the panel at the beginning when it's Thomas slumped against the door and Bruce is on the other side of it. Man, it was a magnificent way to open the book. So I think that I just think like the way they've done that back and forth and the way they've colored it and handled it, I think Frank Martin on colors deserves some shout outs here. I think he's done
absolutely.
a job.
Yeah, and Fable, to give credit for on the show last night too, he had mentioned
idiot.
Yeah, here we go. Hold on.
What an idiot. That's great.
But Fable had mentioned also the light that was coming through the bullet holes of the door as Bruce's
man.
Subtle little things like that. That's just visual storytelling. That's what makes comics so great.
Yeah, and I love how like Snyder's including like the little facts about bats that you see in the bat enclosure that he posts in panels here has something to do with like what goes on in the issue. I just love little stuff like that is dope. I really appreciate it. But yeah, what did you feel? How did you feel about the bat tank with a literal staircase on the front of it? Like, was it all right for you? Like,
we're living in a advance forward. God damn it!
Right? Just let go and enjoy the ride.
You know what? If you're gonna poo-poo over this construction vehicle Batmobile, you're not doing it right. I'm sorry, you're just not. I'm gonna call you out on it right now. You're not doing this comic right, which is like just buckle up and have fun, man. This is a roller coaster. So, whatever. We're not here to watch freaking Citizen Kane. We're here to see Batman AF.
Yeah, and this is it, dude.
Scott Snyder said it the best. So,
and like he said something. I thought really profound, like on that interview. He did a great interview with Sal from Comic Pop. If you guys haven't seen it, I think it's the most recent one. I think because he's done a couple with him, but where he really gets into some of the particulars of this book. But how he's kind of doing the bombast and the sincere storytelling with like the zoo story arc and like redefining Bruce's origin and stuff like that. Like I feel like you're getting both things that you love about Batman. Like that's what I love about it, and I think he's walking that tightrope really well. So through 2 issues, dude, this one rocks.
I'm having so much fun with it, man.
Yeah.
But before we jump into the next issue here, we had a couple more people join us here. Brother Joe, the real American hero.
Station.
Awesome seeing you. We got Edson E.O. here. The coloring of the past was almost uneasy feeling, which was great. I couldn't have said it better. Yeah, it is. It has an uneasy feeling, which is perfect because, man, that's an uneasy situation to be in here.
Yes,
also,
absolutely.
Thank you for joining us, man. All right. All right. You ready to jump into the second issue of DC that we have for the night?
Yeah, man. Let's do it.
All right.
All right,
I'll let you go ahead and talk about this.
Yeah, Batman Dark Age number 6. I know you're not reading the Dark Age Space Age series, but this ended up being a solid final chapter for the book. I definitely didn't enjoy it as much as I did some of the previous issues of this series. I think it was a little bit rushed in its tying up of all the storylines and trying to bring it into the shared universe with the Superman Space Age type of thing a little bit too much, in the latter half of the book, and we were doing some time jumps and stuff like that were a little jagged. But all in all, I want to celebrate this series. Really, I think it was fantastic. The All Reds did an incredible job throughout. They had a couple great go for broke moments here with Batman and Catwoman. And their character designs and character designs and the whole world they created in this was fantastic. So I definitely want to shout them out. All Red's art really just it always feels fresh to me, man. You know what I mean? It always feels evergreen. So I love that team up, and I think you could tell that they were inspired here. at least for parts of it and sections of the story. And I don't know. I'm always excited to see them on a book and see what they do next. So shout out to Mike and Laura Allred. For Mark Russell, I don't know if it's like my favorite Mark Russell book. That said, you know, my like during the middle part of this run, I was really high up on it. And I think he did some really cool and interesting things when it's all said and done with Gotham, with Batman universe, during a comic book year that's really been oversaturated with Cape Crusader comics, right?
Yeah.
But
Yes,
I really enjoyed his structuring of the story throughout, like through flashbacks of an old delusional Bruce Wayne, you know, who's under supervised care at Wayne Manors. I think honestly the back and forth between Ra's al Ghul and Russell's decision to set kind of the creation of Batman in the theater of the Vietnam War was the best part of this book, man. And the part when it was at its absolute best. And I miss that energy because I feel like he kind of, you know, not that he did know where to go with it at the end, but that it just, I don't know. He kind of got, I think, lost and had a little bit, maybe too much fun in the middle, but then wanted to, I guess, do some more world building. But I don't know, a little bit of a rush final issue, but that wouldn't stop me from recommending this series or Superman Space Age. I think they're both great works and they do interesting nuanced things with the character and flip a lot of things on their head. And I think it's worth checking out if you're a fan of either Mark Russell or Mike Allred. But yeah, Batman Dark Age #6, not the ending I was necessarily hoping for. I think this was the week of like endings that were almost there. You know what I mean? That were like, there were some that were really good. There were some that were, but everything felt bittersweet. You know, I don't know. There was a lot of great books that ended this week that I was just like, man, I don't know how I feel about that. I gotta, you know, some of these I'm gonna have to sit with and digest and reread, and this might be one, but I don't know, man. I just felt like he was trying to do too many things at once here at some points during this last issue, or at least in the second half of it. That I just didn't care for. But that said, it was still great.
Let me ask you this, because I did actually read this issue, and I got to tell you, reading the last issue in a miniseries as a jumping on point is a real stupid thing to do, because I was completely lost and I had absolutely no idea what was going on. But I understand the premise of the Space Age and the Dark Age and whatever the heck his next one is going to be called, right? I get it. It's like you and Nick have put it perfectly, calling it the grand design of these DC, the trinity of DC characters. With Batman as a character, I feel like with Superman, I can understand an end point for that character. I can see a satisfying ending to that character where everyone walks away happy and there's, I don't know, there's a climax, there's finality to the character himself. And I can see the same thing with Wonder Woman. I don't know if I could see that with Batman. And right, like even if you look back at, you know, the last ending that we've really gotten for this character, which would be like kind of like the Nolan trilogy of films. You know, we had finality with The Dark Knight Rises, and we had that climax, and we had the ending of the character and the creation of that character of Batman himself. Batman was going to, for all intents and purposes, cease to be the way that Bruce Wayne has him. And that kind of left people with an unsavory taste in their mouth. They didn't really care for that character, or I'm sorry, not that character, that movie, that ending, the way that finalized. Do you feel like it's the character of Batman not being able to provide a satisfying ending? Because who the heck knows what does a satisfying ending for Batman look like? You could argue that Frank Miller couldn't even do it because he kept that character going.
Yeah, I think you get in trouble when you try to, because here, well, I don't want to ruin it for people, you know what I mean? But like the way the character kind of like had his death, you know what I mean? Like the death of Batman, more or less, like off of the actions he committed to and ultimately, like, you know, shockingly did. I don't know. It's definitely not it's definitely not a happy ending or one you would want to see for the character, given like everything he's done. I don't know. I think I really liked, I don't know. the ending is just didn't work for me, but I like the idea of Batman kind of being delusional and not remembering everything and recounting his story, at a retirement home and like that. And it had some really great and funny moments. I don't know, the way it was all brought together and like to see that he's the survivor of this situation just like was really sad and a bummer. You know what I mean? So I don't know. And like, do you ever want to see an end to this character? I don't know if that's necessarily a chapter in this character's life that I want to see. I don't know. I feel like there's so many more fascinating things you could do with them. I don't know. How do you feel? Like,
and that's the reason that I brought up the question is because I don't think that the character of Batman has such a thing as a satisfying ending. Like Batman intrinsically is. I'll go back to what we were talking about with Absolute Batman, because we joke around with the Batman AF, but it's advanced forward. That's Batman's mentality. That's Bruce's mentality. I cannot see an ending for Batman, the character, that is not him just finally not being able to win the fight.
Yeah.
He will constantly be, whatever, fighting, right? And working towards building a better Gotham or stopping crime and doing whatever it is he's going to be doing. I can't see a time where he's just like, I'm hanging up the cowl, boys. It's just not for me anymore. It's like, what? Yeah. No, that doesn't exist. And by saying that, what I mean is that there is no ending for this character, which is a disservice to anyone that's going to be writing something for them, unless they're truly planning on killing him off. Otherwise, I just don't know what there is to say for this character that is an ending. I don't know.
Yeah, no, he will live forever. He will only get better and find ways to be more immortal and more of a menace, dude. Like, yeah, I don't necessarily know if this series had to go and dive into all that for a final chapter. You know what I mean? I feel like they could have left some things, some strings left untied, and it's still been effective and hard hitting. But yeah, just the whole need to like wrap it up, and the way he wrapped up like being Batman, deciding he didn't want to be Batman anymore was so disappointing. So yeah, I don't know.
That it's a hard line to walk here. And here, from what we're seeing in the chat, Mark had made a comment somewhere about wishing DC had given him an extra issue. Great series, clearly wanted to go on longer for this
again one. And issue 5 came out August 28th, and here we are with issue 6. You know what I mean? Like, that hurt when like, to my memory, I didn't look up the dates of the rest of the issues, but it was pretty regular before that. The gap in between 5 and 6 definitely hurt it. And I think I don't know, did he really have another issue to tell though?
Maybe. I mean, did he have an issue to tell? It sounds like yes. Would it have benefited the story? We'll never know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. We got Babel here saying Bruce is like the Punisher, no happy endings.
It seemed like he was trying to shy away or not be. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go for it.
It felt like, I don't know. He was half in, half out with tying it into the Superman space age thing. Like, I remember reading early on and not knowing where he was going with all that, and it seemed like the more we got into the book, the more he was going to pull in that world. I mean, obviously, Pariah was always a part of it, but I don't know. I didn't know how much he was going to pull in that world until I guess this issue. So that was kind of a surprise for me. So maybe that was something he wanted to develop more.
Well, and I had heard, differing ideas around that too, whether or not Space Age and Dark Age were going to kind of exist within the same universe, or whether it was just like a naming convention that they were using. Yeah, so I don't know. I guess my short answer is I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah. Fair enough. We got Edson saying, I like the idea of Batman living on forever, whether it's metaphorically or literally, like Batman Year 100. We got Sal saying, if Bruce has someone take over his role like Nightwing and is in a more improved version of himself, then that could be a happier ending. I did like, so I was a fan of the original, well, I shouldn't say the original, but the Batman and Robin series where Dick Grayson became Batman and Damian became his Robin. I love that series. And I think that Grant Morrison did that in a way that totally made sense. It was satisfying for the character because at that point, Final Crisis had just happened and Bruce had taken the Omega Bullet. And we had thought he had died, which in turn was, him sending him back through time at multiple points in time and kind of becoming weird versions of Batman in different, whatever historical events and stuff like that. But I really liked that version. But again, that came by way of Bruce going away, right? And they all thought Bruce was gone, was dead. So I don't see a way out of Bruce being Batman without Bruce dying. I don't see an avenue out of that.
That's what rang true about failsafe to me. You know what I mean? Like creating a robot or an AI that's superior can just continue your fight on. I don't know. That's what I liked about that.
Yeah.
Nick says it's a different. Okay. All right. I gotta go back and do my homework. I don't know.
Prove it, Nick.
I thought Pariah was a tie that binds, bro, but I don't know. We'll talk about it in the chats. You can educate me more. Maybe I'm sorry if I'm wrong. But both, I recommend Superman Space Age and great all-red artwork and Batman Dark Age. Both great artwork and great stories.
There we go. And we got Talk saying the trauma of seeing his parents murdered is something he needs to put in its place. Otherwise, Alfred will never see him and Selina sipping tea anonymously in the European cafe, giving him just enough of a little nod there. Dude, listen, that scene though, where Michael Caine thinks that Bruce had died and he's just like sobbing uncontrollably at the grave. Oh man, that was like the best moment of that movie. That was Michael Caine, national treasure. I know he's not
Mike delivered some of the most quotable, like some people just want to watch a world burn. Come on, man.
The size of a tangerine.
I love him telling that story about that warlord they were chasing in the jungle. So great.
The man he met in Burma.
I like your Michael Caine, bro.
It's not bad. It needs work.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad place to start from, though.
Yeah, exactly. It's a jumping off point.
It's a good baseline. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that we've hammered on enough about the DC brand here and Batman in particular. Let's jump on over to the indie comics that we know and love. Starting off with the end of Precious Metal. I'm just going to go into a deep depression. You go ahead and talk about this. I'll be crying in the corner.
Man, this was bittersweet. Got some. I mean, you talk about like on the reverse from Batman Dark Age. You talk about so many satisfying story arcs coming to fruition. This was incredible, right? And yeah, it's just bittersweet to see this one go, man. This one really challenged me as a comic book reader in the best way this year, like a book like no other book has. Really made me dig deep to understand it, and to just take time with the artwork. The Ian Bertram artwork has been transcendental and holy. Honestly, it's just page to page incredible. This book is no different. But yeah,
someone take this man's wrench away. By the way, just if y'all could
this guy over here.
The only
tugging on Superman's cape. You know what I mean? Like
the dude thinks that the only type of precious metal is the kind that transforms. Jesus.
Oh, love you, bro. He's consistent. You got to give him that. He's been out here every issue drop. But yeah, bro, I don't want to go into this.
How do you go into this? Yeah. This is going to be a struggle.
But, yeah, it is going to be a struggle, but it picks up in a different and jarring place, but immediately you're along for the ride. Like I said, though, you get some great character turnarounds, whether it's Selina and Alina. I think I got those two right. And what they do for each other. Just some of the simple conversations that are had in this book are just so beautiful. But it's magical, man. The moment where, Max, finally connects with the boy and I guess releases him of this pain, really, more or less, is beautiful. Him kind of like piloting the 12 of this giant, crazy kaiju body being attacked by all these little replicant, I don't even know what to call them, man. Like evil Superman type of deals. You know what I mean? It reminds me of Satan's soldiers. Sometimes you just got to collect all your babies in a sack and throw them off world. We're
learning a lot about your parenting tonight, by the way, between how you would deal with being Bruce's parents and now this, but it's okay. Go on.
It's all right. Don't call child services on me, guys. But yeah, it was everything you could want in a finale. Honestly, and you know, I loved where the story went. It of course went into unexpected and new places and areas I didn't think it was going to go. And like I said, I love the resolutions we got for some of these characters. It just makes me want to go back and read Little Bird and start all over again. But it's been an incredible epic, and this is just one of the comic books that you can feel the hours and hours and hours of love behind. And it's a incredible work of art, man, and it's going to live forever. It's one of the best books of 2024. I think it's one of those books that only gets richer on revisits, and God knows how many times I've already reread all of these issues, and I think I read each issue many times before each issue dropped. You know what I mean? By the time 6 had dropped, I had read 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 5. I don't know how many times. And this is what we do it for. After every issue, we would all be waiting for each other to catch up and read it and have conversations about it in the chats. We were, you know, Nick has turned to a full-fledged crazy person. He's got thumbtacks all over his living room. He's looking up YouTube videos on Revelations. Like, Nick has gone completely insane. But it's just been an amazing refresher of a comic, in the sense of, like, it reminds me why I love this and what comics can be. And it's just a book, like I said, a book that challenges me in all the best ways as a reader, and that I just want to share and talk about and recommend to people. So it was everything you would have wanted in a finale. It's a book you can't recommend highly enough. Ian Bertram, Darcy Van Polgeest, Matt Hollingsworth, and who was it? Haas on letters?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hassan Otsman Ohao.
Incredible creative team, man. Shout out to everybody involved. Just a job well done is an understatement. So yeah, my favorite book of 2024.
It's in the running for sure, man. And I love the way that the series has evolved too, because, like, I feel like it's gone on the spectrum, right? Where it's like issues 1, 2, and 3, when you're like, what the hell does any of this mean? Like, what is what's even happening in this book? So then it gets to 4, 5, and 6, and you just keep questioning, how are they going to wrap this up? How are they going to put the bow on this? How are they going to land the plane? And they did. And they did so beautifully. Right? Everything wraps up. Everything makes sense. It might take a couple reads, like Stu had alluded to. We may or may not know a person who has, like, become like a conspiracy theorist, like smoking a pack and a half a day, just pacing back and forth, wondering what Project Wormwood means, who the secret character is, what does it mean to be a maker in the universe of Little Bird. Yes, but they just, everything wraps up so beautifully. You get closure with some of these characters. It's incredibly bittersweet too, when you've read Little Bird and then you, like, consider what's happening with some of these characters in the future, and the way that the world evolves from the point that we are at with precious metal in 35 years in the past, knowing what happens in the future, even though, you know, Little Bird ends in a triumphant manner, this doesn't necessarily do that. While there is light at the end of the tunnel, and there is some brevity to be taken from the ending that we get here, it's beautiful. Those two things interlink and intermingle in ways that just enrich each other more so, where you could read either one of these in whatever order you really want to. You could read it chronologically, and I feel like you would still get the same experience that you would vice versa. It's just brilliant storytelling, visually and narratively. Darcy Van Polgeest, man, he has quickly developed into one of my absolute favorite writers of comic books right now. And Ian Bertram, you just don't get. So we talked about the artist on Psylocke, right? Who did really, really solid work, really good comic book work.
Absolutely.
It is, Ian Bertram is in a different league altogether, though. Like, he's playing chess, everyone else is playing checkers, basically. I don't know. I can think about a handful, I mean, less than 5 artists that I think are in the same caliber of him right now. That's the quality of artwork that he's bringing to these books, and to the level of pacing and storytelling and just craft that he's putting forward. Beautiful book, beautiful series. It's Is it as good as Kaya?
All right, so let's talk about it. We got a month to go for the month. Like, who's knocking on the door for best book for you besides this one? Obviously, I think this one definitely, Beneath the Trees is up there. Like, what are any off the top of your head?
I mean, similar to a person that I had just mentioned, being a conspiracy theorist and smoking a pack a half a day, pacing back and forth. I've been doing the same thing, racking my brain, trying to figure out what is my favorite series. What are my favorite books of 2024? Whether they are like the mini series or the best ongoing or any of this kind of stuff. For books in this vein, the mini series kind of books, I think, geez. I think there's maybe 4 that are in the conversation, and it's Precious Metal, Kaya, Avengers Twilight,
Zatanna. Yeah, Zatanna's up there.
Zatanna.
Yeah, good call, bro.
Doom, I think, is in a different category, though. Like, if there's a best one shot, I think that wins hands down.
Absolutely. Zatanna is up there, though. It's a sneaky little fucker.
Dude, we've had a lot of rare flavors. Rare flavors, technically, you could say was this year. Einfeld Gang Massacre, Hellblazer Dead in America hasn't wrapped up yet, but that's been something that's predominantly been this year. God, the One Hand, the Six Fingers, you could argue. Did I say Avengers Twilight? Coda?
Avengers Twilight, definitely.
There's a lot of books to take consideration, but it's gonna, of those that I've listed, it's gonna be between, I'm gonna hold that close to the best.
Yeah. Savage Swords had a great year too. All the Conan books.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's been a great
year. What about you, though?
I think I'm right there with you. All those ones you listed are definitely in the top for me. I think for the top, it's between Precious Metal and Beneath the Trees, probably. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't argue that. I can't. Like,
yeah. I'd have to. That said, I definitely don't have as cumulative as a list I would compile it as I would like to. You know what I mean? So I definitely need to take a good hard look at this year before I make that definitive statement. But yeah, just off the top of my head, man, it's been a great year though, right, bro? Like, especially for the indies and the quality of like some of these stories and this artwork that we're getting these days. I think it's been a really fantastic year. A lot of great books out there.
You know, it is kind of nice with it being this time of year because we do get to look back and start considering these kind of things too. Because you can get bogged down in the minutia of the week in, week out comics. Lord knows, like we read more than the things that we praise, right? And that's just the reality of the fact, right? Not all of the books are bangers every week. That doesn't mean that every series isn't great. But sometimes that is the case, you know, whether it's a single issue, whether it's an entire series, whether it's a disappointment or something, or a pleasant surprise. Like, everything can't always hit on all cylinders, but you get truly special series and books that live up to this caliber over and over and over. And beyond a shadow of a doubt, Precious Metal belongs in that conversation.
Amen.
Yep. I didn't want to mention this next book, but it is one that I would being part of the best books or the best limited series of this year. I'm going to go ahead and jump on to Helen of Windhorn #6, which is our second book to talk about here for the indies. Written by Tom King, art by Bilquis Evely, colorist by Matt Lopes, and letters by Clayton Cowles. Had Precious Metals not come out this week, this absolutely would have been my pick of the week, and I think that it would have been pick of the week in a lot of other weeks. It just happened to fall right in that sweet spot where it had some really, really tough competition going for it. This kind of offers us, I don't know, just like a breath, right? It offers us, you know, just time with the issue where, you know, the grandfather has kind of warmed up to Helen kind of re-entering this fantasy world and, like, you know, being okay with the fact that she's going to be in danger sometimes, and that's just a reality of the way that things are. Helen learns so much about her lineage, about some of the mysteries of this world, some of the mysteries of her father, her mother, her parentage. there's just so many things that are hinted at, and you can't say that they're outright told to her, but there's enough there that where you can put those lines together, and you can pretty much put the narrative together about what is actually happening here. We get to spend time in this fantasy world. We get to spend time with Helen back on, in Windhorn Manor, being with these ancillary characters of Joseph, of the governess teaching her. There was, I think, only one misstep that really happened within the entirety of this series and this issue, which would be that the structure of the story, which is that the governess is recounting the things that happened in Windhorn. It was even hard to decipher who she was really telling it to. It was kind of like this collector / reporter character, but also there was like things were being auctioned off, and that included tapes of the retelling of some of this stuff. So it was hard to really like see what was happening with those time frames for that storytelling mechanism. And on top of that, I don't know if it was totally necessary to tell the story that they were trying to tell here, because quite honestly, like, unless they do something with that in the future, it kind of felt just, I don't know, out of place. I just want to live in this world. I just want to see what the heck Helen is doing.
Are you talking about the modern day stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's been like forced / like so random that I definitely agree with you there. It definitely feels like out of touch at this point.
At the very least, it needed something more to like make it relevant and make it
Yes.
meaningful. Like, because I feel like there's something that could be done there that's going to make it. There's going to be an aha moment where like, oh, that's why this is all happening, because I don't know, like, oh, the person that the story is being told to is Helen's son or
Yeah,
something.
like make it like the interview, give it some interview with the vampire energy. You know what I mean? Like they're related to her or something. You know what I mean? They're in on it the
So
whole
what you're
time.
saying is Brad Pitt's going to play the grandfather character, and Tom Cruise is going to be, I don't know, Joseph, the guy that teaches Helen how to swing a sword.
I don't know, man. That's a good question. Who would I cast in this in the Helen of Windhorn movie? I'd have to think on that one.
I don't know. Anyway, yeah, okay. So bring the interview with the vampire energy then. Okay, I can deal with that.
Yeah.
I thought it was a beautiful coda to this, and I thought that well, first of all, knowing that Tom King came out and said, "Oh, this was the end of chapter 1," alluding to the fact that there will be more coming down the line. Knowing that before I finished this issue made this a worthwhile journey. If I didn't have that, I might have been, I don't know, I might have been a little perturbed, I guess I'll say. Not like, not rip this comic in half, I'm done with you, but like I would have been a little bit angry, because it didn't offer closure in the same way. It offered you enough closure to where you feel good about what's happening, but didn't offer you enough closure to say this is the finale of our storyline. This was Helen of Windhorn. Like, no, it's like this gave us stuff, but I like what it did give us, because there was a question that Helen asks in this that made me totally just spin back everything and go, oh, is this going to be something I need to go back and read from the very beginning, that maybe I was not picking up on certain things? Because she, I can't remember if I know she asks her grandfather to tell her a story about her father, right? And he kind of reluctantly tells the story. But then she comes back and they're on Windhorn and she's talking to the governess, and she says something along the lines of, am I real? Or like, am I part of this story? And that really made me sit there and go, wait a minute. Like, there's more to this that I'm not totally understanding, or that hasn't been spelled out enough in the story to make me feel confident in my presumptions of what's going on. Because her asking that question and some of the things that we've seen in this book previously, like when the governess goes to like tell the grandfather, like, you got to take her back to this fantasy world because she's just, she's basically drowning in her sorrow, and he's going to town on this big serpent thing. Did that exist? Is that a construct of his mind in a story that is kind of crafted for him and him alone? Does this fantasy world exist? Does Helen even exist at this point? There's a lot of metatextual things that I think this could be playing with that need to be spelled out a little bit more. I'm sorry, I've been talking a lot though, dude.
No,
what did you think of this issue?
I agree with a lot of things you said, man. I could have used a little bit of a stronger closing chapter, I guess. I feel like the mom was kind of like a consolation prize. You know what I mean? As far as like in terms of, I don't know, the big thing that we're gonna get. I'm kind of annoyed that we didn't get more info on the dad and where that was all going, and because obviously he's still out there, right? If like we've seen the mom dead now, like I feel like the dad's still got to be out there. And
Well, the dad died. I thought he drank himself to death, right?
but like, did he? Like, I feel like there's another part to the story. Like, if I don't know,
he took Helen to the zoo and he got shot, and she was in the Bat Enclave. Like, clearly, that's the answer.
I don't know. He sure just. I feel like they keep putting him in the conversation or as an unresolved thing. You know what I mean? I feel like, did this really resolve it? Did you feel like this resolved her whole daddy? Yeah, exactly. So that's why.
But that's what I'm saying, though. I think that they put things in place within this issue that made me go like, whoa, pump the brakes. Yeah. Wait a minute. Do I even know what's happening right now? But it wasn't in a frustrating way. It was in an enlightening way, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. It's something that really made me want to reconsider this book. And like, by no means is going back and reading this going to be a chore, because Bilquis Evely's art is just like, it's stunning. It is absolutely gorgeous. So I think it's going to be worthwhile. I can't wait to hear about this coming back, because I'm going to get primed for it. I'm going to go back and reread this, and I'm sure they're going to come out with a deluxe edition, and this is going to be sitting pretty on my bookshelf.
Do you feel like King had 2 number 6s written, where one was, you know, this is the one and only story arc, and like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like this was an issue that definitely set up the future more so than like, you know, just I feel like at some point they made the call to go long and go for a second volume on this, and that probably changed the trajectory of things, especially in the final issue, it felt like.
Well, and I think that they probably did have like dialogue changes, because then the narrative is what drove the story at the very end of it. It was very conversational back and forth between the grandfather and Helen. So I mean, you change a couple lines in that, and this very well could have been a finale, right? The page that we're looking at right here, where they're going back to Windhorn, that could act as a beautiful ending for the story. Yeah. You know, it's like how Helen got her groove back, basically, right? Like,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it's been incredible though, and to hear how this came together, how like King basically pitched her, you know, what do you like to draw, and like, you know, just created this world for her. It's been a pretty amazing writing exercise, I would say.
Yeah,
you know
I can't remember
like
prompts. It was like Wuthering Heights and Conan or something like that.
Yes,
it's just like
Victorian age type stuff, and Conan, and he made it all happen. So yeah, I think I'll go for the granddad. I'll go, since I just recently saw him buffed out in that Red One movie. I'll go J.K. Simmons for the grandfather. Little facial hair on him, buff him out. He's got the voice for it for sure.
Okay, I'm not mad at J.K. Simmons, man. That dude, he's an actor. He's good, man. I like him.
Dude. I'd like to see like Amy Adams as Helen, I think.
Oh, okay.
Fun. She could go deep and beat. Pick. Or Bryce Dallas Howard would be fun. I think she could pull it off.
Yeah,
Bryce
totally.
Dallas Howard could be like adventurous and, you know, serious, dramatic.
I'm gonna go Liam Neeson for the grandfather and Emma Stone for Helen.
Ooh,
Emma Stone's off the top of the
great dome. Call.
Yeah,
Emma Stone's a great call, bro.
I mean, like a bunch of redheads come right to mind with all that kind of stuff. So like, you got a pool of 7 maybe that you're pulling from. we were gonna come to it one way or another.
Yeah, that's great. Definitely the rambunctiousness, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we got a couple more people that joined us here, or at least one more. Sleepy.
Hey, Damien, what's up, man?
Nice seeing you, Damien. What do we got here? Let's see. Has Tom King become almost entirely a writer of female characters these days? You know, if he keeps writing characters the way that he writes Supergirl, and the way that he writes Helen, and the way that he's writing Wonder Woman,
yeah,
sure, do it. Like, keep doing it, man, because
I love his Barda and Mr. Miracle. God, I love that relationship between those two. It's fantastic.
Dude, with the New God series coming out from Ram V, I really do want to go back and read. I've never read Mr. Miracle, right? And that was kind of like that was one of the couple.
That's my favorite one, probably
titles
from him, man. Yeah, that one's incredible. You really, yeah, you enjoy it. It's fantastic. And Mitch Jarrett's just such an incredible job on the artwork.
Oh, dude, yeah, with a team like that, that's
yeah.
All right,
I want to see more of them. It's been too long. Like we got them together for that. A little bit for that Batman Brave and the Bold story, but I would definitely like to see them again.
You know, Simpleton makes a good point. Isn't Helen like 16? Okay.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah. I'm going to take it as a point of pride that I don't know too many 16-year-olds out there. So,
yeah,
hey,
same. I got no recommendations for that.
Yeah. Whatever. We'll leave that to a casting director. They'll figure it out. They'll make a wonderful Helen of Windhorn movie.
I'm sure they'll do something sketchy and
so, okay, we didn't have to go that route. Jeez. All right. Well, thus wraps up our books of the week here, but we do have some covers of the week, man, because we buy these books because they have some absolutely gorgeous artwork here, and sometimes that comes by way of the cover. I'm going to jump out the gates with this one here, since we were just talking about Helen of Windhorn, a gorgeous David Mack variant here for Helen of Windhorn that came out. I'm a big fan of David Mack's artwork, man. Not only is he a really fantastic artist, but dude, go meet him at a con. He's the nicest dude you're going to meet. I guarantee you, hands down, you're going to have a great conversation. He's going to pat you on the back on the way out, man. Great dude. That's dude.
Awesome.
Killer artist.
Hell yeah.
Next up, we got one of your picks here, man. And speaking of cons, we met this dude.
Yeah, Jeffrey Allen Love. Well, y'all did. I unfortunately.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Blame it.
Well, you ditched us. I'm blaming you for that.
Yeah, but you guys were kind enough to pick me up some of his stuff. Jeffrey Allen Love, man, who's really one of my favorite up and coming artists, doing this incentive variant for Absolute Batman #2. He's got a great Conan cover out there, putting together a great cover portfolio. Can't wait to see more from this guy. Y'all go follow him on IG. I think that's his handle, right? Is his whole name at Jeffrey Allen Love? I believe.
Jeffrey Allen Love, yeah.
Yeah, check him out. Great.
Yeah, he's got some great books that he's put out by himself too. One of them being
Absolutely
Notes from the Shadowed City. Yeah, and that was the book that I picked up at the con, and I sat at the airport and I read the entire thing before I even got on the flight. Man, it's great artwork. Like, it was a really fun, kind of story that was taking place. I don't know if they crafted the story around the artwork or if it was vice versa. They had kind of this fun, whimsical story, and then they put the artwork in place for it. But either way, it's really awesome stuff. And he's got a series of 3 books that are that way. So check those out.
Yeah. Just one of those artists I'd love to just sit and watch how he does what he does.
I'm still very curious about that.
Yeah, his process
it looks almost like a stamp.
Right? It looks super interesting to me. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up here, I'm sorry, I don't know the artist on this. Who
this is Sienkiewicz, man. Sienkiewicz.
That's Sienkiewicz?
Doing a variant for Batman Dark Age #6. Yeah, dude. This book had some fantastic variants. I got that Frank Quietly one I posted on IG a while back. It's had some beautiful variant covers. So yeah, this one I don't really know what it has to do. I got more references to early on in the book, but regardless, I just love the Neil Adams Batman that he's got going on, and dude, you can't go wrong with Sienkiewicz, right? You can't.
No, no, absolutely not.
Yeah,
well, and if you would have told me, if I just looked at the colored portion of it, I'd be like, yeah, that I could see. Hey, that's totally Sienkiewicz. The totality of the cover, though, the darkness of it is really interesting. I've never really seen him work with such a dark palette, almost predominantly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Next up, this was another one of your picks, man. This is a good one. This is a really good one.
Stanford Green. This one blew me away. Black Lightning variant. This one is just gorgeous, dude. And I love the text. It just really just turns it up to 11. Fantastic cover from a fantastic artist. Like Talk was saying, Doom is one of the best one shots of this year. Y'all go check him out, man. He's doing some big things. I can't wait to see what he has coming next.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, this dude?
God, how many did I pick? I was OD this week, dude.
Maybe.
John Jiang, doing the Doom, man. Had to throw a Doom on there.
Yeah, you had to, right? It's
yeah.
like in your contract, right?
I'm done. Yeah, I'm done now.
Sorry, it's okay though, because just like you having a Doom cover every single week, I've basically had a Dan Panosian cover every single week.
Oh my god!
This dude,
are you serious?
He leveled up. I am loving every single thing this guy is putting out, man. So Dan Panosian, man, killer artwork. I can't wait for him to come back and do an ongoing again, man. Like whatever, write it, but just draw it, please, for the love of God, draw it, because I can't wait to see this kind of work, page after page after page. Like,
we pulled up that Absolute Batman cover, that Dark Knight Returns variant, like homage variant, that with the Knuckles and all that last night, and everybody was like, man, like he's on fire right now.
Here we go. If a dude like Fable is saying something like this, take notice, because if anyone knows cover artwork,
it's been nothing but he rocks here recently, though. Like, really.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
Great pick, bro. Great pick.
Thank you. Hey, great picks for you too, man.
Yeah, but, sorry, I went overboard. Sorry.
No, you went just the right amount. It was perfect.
Right,
yeah. We talked a lot about precious metal here. I still don't think we gave it enough credit, right? Because the duo that is Darcy Van Polgeest and Ian Bertram, they're our creator spotlighted this week here, because they are doing fantastic work right here and right now. But that doesn't mean that they have not been doing great work in the past. Darcy, like we had talked about, and Ian had teamed up and kind of like really hit the scene together as a duo for Little Bird. We've seen that to come to its culmination. That was much lauded as a book of the year for that particular year. Precious Metal is feeling the same way, but they've also done independent work themselves. Darcy had done a really fun noir detective story set in the future backdrop, kind of like a Blade Runner-esque kind of time frame, with Lotus Land that came out from Boom Studios. I had a hell of a time with that book. I really liked it, and I liked that it was outside of the scope of Little Bird, because I want him to, spread his wings a little. I went there. I said that pun. Yeah. It was really good. It was I don't know. It was a really fun storyline, and I can't wait to see them explore more outside of that realm. Same thing with Ian, dude. This, Little Bird and Precious Metal is not the only thing that Ian Bertram's worked on. I read a really fantastic book from him and Peter Tomasi called House of Penance that kind of revolved around the Winchester Mystery House type of storyline, if you know that kind of stuff.
I gotta check that out.
It's Ian Bertram artwork, and Peter Tomasi, arguably one of the most undersung writers in the game right now. Like, the dude just seems to kind of be right on the cusp of doing fantastic, or being heralded for doing fantastic work, because I think he has.
Man, he should have blown up off of that Superman run he did way back in the day for what was it?
Yeah,
Rebirth or whatever. He was fantastic. Also, dude, that the Winchester House was the subject of a great Swamp Thing issue. So I definitely. What is that one called again?
House of Penance.
House of Penance. I gotta check that out.
Yeah, go check it out. It's a pretty awesome read. And spoilers, that was like not one of me and my wife's first dates, but I think it was like maybe the first or second Halloween that we spent together. We vacationed over by the Winchester Mystery House and had a fun Halloween over there. Oh yeah, been in there.
Is it crazy? Is it crazy like that?
Weird, dude. It is really, really weird. Like really narrow staircases where the stairs are like, seriously, no joke, like this high each and every step that you take. Things that lead to nowhere, but they also dial up the stupid spookiness. Like, as you're going through the tour, if you're in the front of the tour, you see the tail end of the other tour, and you see the dudes like flicking light switches and stuff like that to amp up the spookiness. I'm like, I see you, dude. Stop it. You're not fooling anyone.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So anyway, don't just read Precious Metal. Don't just read Little Bird. Seek out these creators' entire catalog. You will not be disappointed by
well said, man.
Yeah, by any facet. And actually, Fable brings up a good point here. Didn't Tomasi isn't he on Rocket Fellas? Whoop, let me see. Yes, he is. And I can't wait to dive into this to see what is up on there, because Francis Manipul on artwork as well.
It's Ghost Machine, right?
That's Ghost Machine, right?
Let's go Ghost Machine.
Yeah, we're doing good. We're doing good. Hey, and speaking of this week's books, this is what we're working with, right? This is just
a freaking week, Dude,
a sampling of some of the good stuff that we're going to get here. We're talking the finale of Spider-Man Reign 2. We got Batman and Robin Year 1, number 2, Geiger number 9, 8, 9, something like that. Ugh, I've already heard good things. Ice Cream Man, my comic shop owner was just like,
when W. Maxwell Prince issued a trigger warning earlier in the week for this book, I was like, oh, I can't wait for this one. You know what I mean? I'm like, I can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah, he like because I always ask him, like, I grab my pull box books and I'm just like, all right, what'd you read, man? What blew your hair back? And he's just like, dude, Ice Cream Man is gonna do something to you. I'm like, oh man, I can't wait. I'm so excited for it.
I'm so here for it too.
Spider-Man
Reign, dude. You talk about some of the best artwork of the year. And Bertram, of course, but golly, that book has been A1, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. So next week is going to be a doozy. There's no
choice about it. I can't wait to get into it, man. So many great books to dissect.
Yeah. Exactly. All
I've
right.
already read Batman and Robin Year 1. That's y'all look out for that series. Don't forget Wade and Sam Nade. That one's a gem.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. I cracked it open and I took a look at it and I'm like, I don't got time before the show. I can't sneak this one in.
Yeah, it's
I gotta give this the time.
A lot of fun. Definitely recommend that one.
All right. Well, Stu, we talked about Absolute Book Club, but I know that's not the only thing you're doing, and by no means is this show not the only thing you're doing, man. Where else can we find you this week?
Yeah, man, been a busy week for your boy. Was on PCB movie night on Monday doing Back to the Future and Absolute Book Club last night. Tomorrow night I'll be with my boy Verno and Link talking Terrifier 1 and 2 at 9 p.m. Eastern over on Blood Splatter Chatter. Y'all check us out, talking about Art the Clown and all his nefarious activities. But that'll be it for this week, I think.
You think?
After 4 nights in a row, I think, yeah. So take it.
Yeah, we talk about your parenting, man. You're going to have to start worrying about single parenting pretty soon, man, because someone's going to be filing for divorce paperwork here real soon.
Speak that into reality yet, just yet. But, yeah, man, appreciate you guys all in the chat for coming out and hanging with us. It's been such an incredible week of shows, and love this time of year, and so many great books out right now. It's been a lot of fun this week. So, yeah, catch me tomorrow night over. How about you, bro? What you got coming?
I got on the poll list my weekly comic book review show that just dropped Monday morning and will drop every single morning, Monday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time. So go check that out here to hear me talking about not only the books that we talked about today, but also a plethora of other ones and find out what my top comic of the week was. Other than that, you can catch me every Wednesday rotating between this and Dr. Doom's fan club here on Ink and Insights. So, Stu, thank you so much for hanging out tonight, man. I appreciate you. Thank you to everyone in the chat here that was hanging with us tonight. Fable, Talk, Simpleton. Let's see if I can run down here. Oh, I'm sorry. Crazy, I missed you. Thank you for hanging with us tonight.
Crazy, what up? Yeah, the Doom cover rules. Doom rules. Right, Eric?
Yes, Doom is all right. He's fine. He's okay.
All right, I guess I'll accept that.
Sleepy Brother Joe, Talk, Nick, I'm going to be missing people. I know Rogue and Sal were hanging with us. Edson, if I missed you, just know that I love you. If you're catching this on the rewind, Simpleton, yes. If you're catching this on the rewind here, hey, consider catching us live one day. But if not, that's okay. We still love you too. Otherwise, it's been a fantastic time hanging out with y'all, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace
later.
Out.